So I planned a full-blown creative sprint in Delaware and I didn't do a single thing. Didn't create a single asset. But I did learn about productivity in ways that a routine that I can't stick to could ever teach me. So there's the positive. There's the upside. So after I filmed that first video, honestly, I was completely checked out of the job. Like I was checked out before, but I was really like, I don't want to work here anymore. So I really wanted to figure out what I could do to move forward so that I could start building my next step in terms of like not having to depend on that job anymore. So like I already got in my head that I wanted to start freelancing as a graphic designer. So I figured, why not go home? I have family up in Delaware. So why not let me go up, be with them, and at the same time, work on a whole bunch of sample work so that by the time I come back, I can hit the ground running and start applying for gigs, right? Boom, okay, like in your face, whiteboarded, took a picture of it. I was like, we're gonna run with this when we get up in Delaware. Like this is happening. I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna have a beautiful, wonderful portfolio, right? So I was gonna fly up, didn't work out, ended up booking a train. Thank you, cousin, for the comp ticket. But it was a 13-hour train ride. It was supposed to be 12, but of course it was 13 hours getting up there. And I had my workstation set up. I had my dual screen. I was testing it out. Got a portable monitor from Amazon because I was like, let me just take this seriously, So I had my iPad out, my computer out. I had my portable monitor out. I also had my work computer in my bag, did all my tasks, folded it up, put like a sweater in front of it so that the screen wouldn't die. And I had like a mouse jiggler so that it looked like I was still active, and had that in my bag so that it looked like I was still working throughout the remainder of the day, right? Meanwhile, I'm working on my samples and I'm feeling good. I'm like, you know what, this is cool. I'm over here traveling, I'm on this train, I'm designing work. Like I can really see myself doing this, like really being a graphic freelancer, right? So fast forward, I get home. I'm tired, I left, I think at like 6 o'clock in the morning from my house. I ended up getting to Delaware almost at midnight, Thankfully my mom was there at the train station to pick me up and we go home, but I'm tired. And the next day I don't want to do any work either. Like I'm tired too. And I believe the next day was also a work day. Yeah, so I had to get my my 9 to 5 situation set up. And it's funny because I was trying to get all of that set up and my computer needed to update, and it was just like updating for hours. So I was like, y'all really don't want me to do this job anymore. But eventually I just got tired of it and a little concerned, so I like reset it. Like I hard reset the computer and was able to get it up and running again and did my little tasks. But I did that. I ended up setting up my like freelance station right after. I put my work computer on the floor because I didn't want it in my creative space. And I just started editing photos for my travel website. All right, so like I was productive, but I wasn't productive in the way that I was expecting to be. Because I was tired. I didn't really have any creative juices in me. And because I started that way, I kind of didn't feel good about it. I felt like I needed to be working on my portfolio because of the plans that I had for when I came back. So in that way, I was already setting myself up for failure because it wasn't working out the way I thought it should be. I kind of felt like I was doing productive procrastination because I was working on a separate task that wasn't the task that I had envisioned myself working on. And I wasn't even editing the photos for that long either because I was with my mom. I hadn't seen her in a minute, so I wanted to chat with her, and we were watching TV and all that stuff and just eating, and I really didn't get much done the first full day there. And the second full day there, I also didn't do any work. I visited my cousin again. Like these are people that I hadn't seen in like at least 6 months, and they have kids and everything. It was just really nice to be with the family because I missed them. So I wasn't really concerned with getting any of the work that I said that I would do for my portfolio, even though it was important to me. But in the back of my mind, I also felt bad that I wasn't doing that work because I was like, I know I want to leave this job. I don't think I'm going to have it for very long anyway. So I really need to make sure that I have something, ready for me to leverage when I get back, because I need to start, I need to something to show for it. I can't just like start applying for gigs and not have any sample work done. Okay. So at that point, I was kind of like mad at myself for not being productive. I started feeling lazy and just bad that I wasn't getting any work done. So I started speaking with my AI. So like I have like these little AI helpers, and they each have like their own little personalities. So the one that I was speaking to, her name is Gigi, and she's like supposed to be your personal assistant. Uh, and I was speaking with her about like my challenges and why I was kind of feeling bad about myself for not doing what I said I would doing. And she brought to my attention that I'm not in my home environment. So I'm with my mom and with my family, but it's not like my home where I was working on rebuilding a routine coming out of this like depression. And that routine wasn't like solidified, and now I'm here in a new environment, having traveled for all this time, you know, and trying to do something new. Like it's not just my job, like it's also this whole like freelance creative thing that I'm trying to do. Like it's all new. So there's gonna be an adjustment period. So she suggested time boxing, you know, using your calendar. So you set an hour to do X, Y, and Z and get that done. I didn't even try it. I know myself, and I'm weird like that in some ways. Like in some ways I love having a calendar and like seeing what needs to be done, but then you attach a time to it and I'm just like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it kind of thing. You know, sometimes it works for me though. Sometimes I'm like, I gotta do this at this time. I think when I actually have like pressing deadlines, that's when like the fire is under my bum and I'm like, I'm gonna get this done. But if I don't, then, you know, I'll get to it when I get to it kind of thing. But anyway, I digress. Then I genuinely like wanted to know, based off of the conversations that we've been having and like my productivity habits, you know, what she thought like my ideal schedule would be. And then she brought up that I'm like my chronotype is that of a wolf. And I never heard of this like sleep chronotyping or anything like that, but I looked it up and it started to make sense. So the wolf chronotype, so you wake up at between 7:30 and 9 a.m., late start 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Your peak performance window is between 12 and 3. Start to wind down between 9 and 12, and bedtime at 12. So it doesn't follow it exactly. Like I like to get to bed earlier than midnight, like maybe 10 to 11, but I noticed that I do start to like wake up more in the afternoon. You know, I'm not really trying to do heavy work tasks in the morning, but in the afternoon, like around 2-ish, 2 to like 5-ish, and then I get another burst around 9 p.m. where I get a lot done and I'm pretty productive and focused. So I started getting rid of everything that I already had on my calendar because I was trying to, again, like fit myself into this box of like your typical like corporate worker. You know, you wake up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning, meditate, do your workout, journal, whatever, work 9 to 5, and then you have the rest of your day to like either like work out or have your leisure, cook, prepare yourself a meal and all that stuff. Like I was trying to do all of those things that I didn't normally do as a routine anyway, and felt bad about why I kept failing. And at the same time, like I didn't realize that I was sort of ignoring how I naturally flow through the day. Like even as a kid, my mom said that I was usually more like active in the night, and like I was never an early riser, and every time I wake up early I feel sick too. I don't know if any of you guys literally feel sick to your stomach, but I don't like it. I can do it if I need to. Like when I did the yoga retreat, we were waking up at 6 a.m. every day, but it's not natural for me. And it kind of sucks too because I would like to be that kind of person who gets up and before the sun rises and actually see the sunrise, but yeah, I guess I'm more of a sunset kind of girl. Anyway, once I found out about the wolf chronotype thing, I sort of started to lean into it, more so when I came back after this whole creative sprint. But while I was there, that was sort of in the back of my mind, and I was just like, you know what, forget it. Like I'm here with my family. Let me just enjoy being with them, and let me just focus more so on how my energy flows throughout the day. If I feel like I can create something, I will, but if not, no pressure. So that's what I ended up doing. I just flowed throughout my day, and I tried to take as much pressure as I could off of myself. I was with my mom walking around her garden. She's growing a lot of vegetables. She's really excited about it and just learning that. I got to meet my brother's girlfriend. We had a good time. We were all watching movies. I was with the family and my mom. It was also my mom's birthday. We just had a bunch of people over, and it was just really nice. So yes, I failed this creative sprint that I had planned for myself, but I think I found success in other ways. Obviously, yeah, I think I had in my mind, what that week was supposed to be like. And it's funny because the universe always has different ways of looking at things. And I stopped trying to fight it, because at the end of the day, everything is in good time. And it just didn't, I was working against myself trying to force creating at that point, because I had traveled and left and my routine was disrupted. That took precedent. And me like learning how to like be me, I guess, learning how to flow with my own natural rhythms. And that even brings it back to why I even tried putting the moon calendar on my phone and living that way rather than this calendar that we all have and are used to. And looking back on that experience now, it's August right now as I'm filming this, and I've leaned even more so into this flow of taking the pressure off of trying to get up early and like do all these things. Like, no, I wake up when I wake up, I go to sleep when I go to sleep, I create when I create. It's going to be a little bit different once I start having some clients coming in, because I actually have deadlines, but that's going to ensure that I actually get things done and there's money involved. There's no, if anything, like I'm losing money, I'm burning. I'm burning right now because I'm not doing anything to actively get me income. And I'm really grateful for the experience that I had, I guess failing my creative sprint, because I learned something that's more important and that's going to stick with me. And it's really just to flow with my own energy instead of resisting it. Because again, like you see what's going around, you see, if you're not waking up by 4 a.m. before the sun gets up and knocking out your workout, you're failing at life. You're not doing anything. Well, I'm a founder. I'm making $25,000 a day and I don't sleep. Kind of, like that's not me. That never was me. I never wanted to be that. But I always thought that I did have to wake up early to be successful. The whole early bird gets the worm kind of thing. But not all of us are birds. I'm a wolf. And so I am late to start, but that's okay. As long as I get in my groove and get what needs to be done, that's what works for me. I don't really like having rigid rules. Like, yes, I like having structure, but for some reason, like when I block out certain times to do certain things every single day, I don't do them. I don't want to do them. So yeah, like having a window, like even having a window, I'm just like, nah. I just no, I'm a go with the flow kind of gal. And I'm learning that about myself, and I'm really seeing it. And the more I lean into it, the easier things get, and the less pressure I put on myself for not doing what I said that I should do, because it just wasn't the time to do it. That's what I'm learning to accept now. And again, I'm not saying that like it's okay to miss deadlines. Obviously, that's not going to be the case once I actually have clients coming in. Because that's never the case. Like looking back on my time in corporate, like I always had things done before the deadline, consistently. So I know that's not going to be an issue once I actually have clients, and it's more so for myself and like my creative process. I need to make sure that I am just doing what feels right. So So again, just coming back to how things are so different coming from corporate and transitioning to like a more freelance lifestyle or entrepreneurial lifestyle. um we're very boxed into certain times to do things outside of the workday because we had very little time to ourselves. um so it's definitely an adjustment for me, going from that to now having all of this freedom to do what needs to be done and what I want to get done as well, just balancing that out. So I just think the biggest takeaway for me from this experience is just to stop putting so much pressure on myself and to just, let it go and, flow throughout the day because everything ends up working out better than I ever could imagine. So thank you all for watching. I hope this was helpful. Curious to know if you guys, if any of you are also transitioning out of this like corporate sort of scheduling, if anyone has also struggled with feeling bad about not getting things done and how you move forward. Are you still working in that sort of structured space? Does that work for you, or are you more like me where you kind of have guidelines and things that you need to do throughout the day but aren't so bent on when they actually get done, as long as they get done before they're due? Let me know in the comments. Really curious to see what you all think.